Mm-mm.
What's your name say?
Life.
It does.
Yeah, it says life in Arabic.
It's better than life in prison.
That's a good one. That's a really good
Yo, like sometimes I really question why y'all are my friends. Welcome to Filter Free. I'm your host TL. I'm here with my friends and family, Bluetooth, the R&B monk Joaquin, Beacon, and Conjo.
He really just flexed on everybody.
This is how you start off a show and end it. We out.
Right.
All right. No, but seriously, welcome back. Today's episode, we're picking up where we left off from the last episode. The first episode was what women need to know. This one, we're talking directly to the men. There are absolutely no filters.
I'm ready.
And we frocking it with the best.
I'm ready. By the way, Joaquin's not even here. He's projecting his image.
Yeah.
From San Diego.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm here in
So-
spirit, literally.
We ain't got to worry about no misinterpretations.
Right.
We don't have to worry about hurting anybody's feelings, whether we're going to be hurt or not. Because we talking to men about men, and we getting right to the crust and the guts of it.
Crust and guts.
Crust and guts.
You
and
said
when
it
it's
best.
and when it's all said and done, we gonna lay that frock to rest on all of y'all that got an issue with it.
Right.
Woo, life,
So
Hope you're ready to be frocked.
By
we're
a
about
bunch
to
of
frock
men.
your world. All right, but seriously, so
Biggest pause on YouTube.
ever.
Pause.
The first episode, we gave some really good tips and keys, if you will, to the women. However, during that conversation, we kind of realized that we could talk to the ladies all day long. It don't matter when we don't have our house in order.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say, hey, you need to do this or you should do that. But where does the accountability come into place for us? So we all know what type of men we are. We're faithful, spiritual,
Black men don't
religious. Black men don't cheat. Black, Puerto Rican, Native
Keep
American,
putting that
white.
in the universe.
Right. Might end up being true.
Right? One of the things that bothers me the most
What bothers you the most?
is we have conversations, let's say, with our EP Sousa, some of our other female friends, and every time we hear a story, it's whose man's is this?
Yo, for real.
Who's raising these people?
For real.
Where do we find you?
Yeah.
Now, I literally must be living in a bubble because I don't know these dudes.
Yeah.
Like when I talk to, okay, granted, it's probably only about 5 of y'all and two other guys. Stuff happens. But when I talk to my friends, y'all are just as shocked as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, question number one, where did we go wrong?
I thought it was whose man's is this?
Well, I mean,
That's question.
that's question number two.
one.
Matter of fact, that's gonna be the title of this episode. Whose man's is this? But okay, fellas, we sit here and say we can't find good women. They ain't no good, or it's, you just fill in the blank.
I don't hear men say that often.
But see, but I
Yeah, I think.
no.
plenty of them.
Well, because
I do hear a lot of guys say it. for
we,
sure.
we,
can't
we
find
yeah,
good women?
we can't find.
I mean,
good
I'm
women.
not saying it's absurd, but they do say it.
They say it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's absurd.
Yes,
Some
absolutely
big-ass
absurd.
men that say
It's
that.
absurd.
Yeah.
Well, once again, so from the last episode, I asked you guys the question about the alpha female. Let's kick this off talking to the beta male.
Damn.
There's some Zeta males out there. You know what I mean? These dudes I'm hearing about, bro. Like I don't get it. I don't get. It's like they don't have a reference for being a man. It's not even just like they're not doing it and they know they should. It's almost like they don't even have the reference for what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I grew up without a father, so I have I can't give you a pass even for that. Like I can't.
Right.
You grew up with a father, so you don't know how to treat him. Yeah, you grown. Like after a certain age, male or female, you're responsible for your decisions. You can't keep blaming the things that happened in the past for it. And maybe that's a problem with us. Maybe that we are complacent in who we've become because of the lack of resources that we've had, and we just stay there.
Okay.
Complacency. I think that us being complacent also comes from what Trey always says, even though he's a bad guy when he says it, but it's not true. About that women feel like there's such a lack of good men that they've lowered their standards.
Yeah.
So we know we only have to achieve a certain level and we can still get a good woman.
Right. Yeah. Very
You
true.
know, and so I feel like a lot of men become lazy in that, you know, because they know they can be broke and still get a woman.
Because a woman is willing to be a woman before the man is willing to be a man.
Right.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Now, so what I love about this dynamic is you got a set of twins. Your twins are 10,
Yes.
boy and a girl. You have an older son, Bear's 25,
Yeah, 24.
24, and then you have your stepkids, which are also your kids,
Yes.
and they're grown. So, and those are mostly girls too, right?
2 girls and 1 boy.
2 girls and 1 boy.
Yeah.
You got a little girl and a son. You just had a beautiful little girl.
Hey.
You got 3 little girls.
Yeah.
You got a set of twins as
Yeah.
well. So this conversation gets real
Yeah.
because now it's a matter of, and I hear women say this all the time, would you want a woman dating a man like you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, 100%.
Please find me.
Now, yes.
100%.
Time. My daughter's name is Time Like the Herb.
Nice.
That's
If you see this later on, my dear heart, find a man like me.
A message in the Bible.
But the beauty of it
Yeah,
is
man.
just you raising her. She ain't even gonna need that message. She
won't.
gonna know.
She
Yeah,
know
she
what
gonna
time
know.
it is.
Nah.
Yeah, she
It
gonna
ain't
know.
even got to be me.
Time will know
You
what
I'm
time
saying?
it
But
is.
if it was me, I wouldn't trip.
The time will know who her Rosemary is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Who cooks in the house.
Deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
It may be a Rosemary.
That's how deep it goes here.
Rosemary,
Yeah,
baby,
Maybe
Yeah,
it is
because-
a
goes here.
maybe
this
it is
conversation
a
is-
Rosemary.
Maybe
You know what I'm
it
saying?
is.
Maybe it ain't a guy like me. You know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
it's not a sage.
Maybe it ain't a guy at
You
all.
know,
But,
you know what I'm
but we need to
saying?
sage this conversation.
Captain Sage.
I swear.
You know.
I might have to use that.
No. We need to put Captain Sage hold arrest.
Yeah, that should be the name.
We need to. Yeah. Oh yeah.
At least in like, you know, parentheses.
Right.
Whose man's disease?
Right there.
Colon.
Right. Captain Sage.
But serious question though. At what point can we say somebody is accountable for that?
For what?
For you know better, you do better.
Okay, so I
Right
believe
now.
I believe that, first of all, I believe it's levels to that, right?
Yes.
As you grow and matriculate, there are certain life milestones that I feel that everybody should hit. But as a whole, if I personally had to put a age on when you can't use this as an excuse no more, to me it's 25. At that point, you've lived enough life, you've experienced enough. I mean, from a financial aspect, your insurance rate drop at 25. You know what I'm saying? So at
I
that
graduated from college.
you know what I'm saying? You graduated from college. You can go
yeah.
lease or you can go rent a car without having a cosigner at 25. At that point, you should have lived enough life that you understand, look, I can't keep blaming the fact, in your case, my dad wasn't there or my parents were horrible or whatever it is. It's, you know what I'm saying? At that point, there's no more excuses. We all know boys and girls that had a rough life that were forced to mature and grow up fast.
Way before 25.
Right.
Way before
Yeah,
25.
for a lot
Like
of us.
my niece at 21, she was more mature than people that I know that's in their 30s. Just because of the life that she lived.
I was married with 4 kids at 19.
You see what I'm saying? Ooh, damn, bro.
Whoa. Well, that's all, folks.
Whole conversation pause. So for me, I gotta say, I think 25 is a good, at least a fair age where we can really start to have that adult conversation.
So 100% of the men that I'm hearing this about are over 25. So let's just say that there is no excuse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because 100% of the men that I'm hearing about are over. Women naturally like older men, right? Than themselves. So they're shooting there, and they're shooting there because they meet a bunch of boys.
Yeah.
And then they meet a bunch of boys there, and it's like, these ain't never gonna grow up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but it's, it's somewhat the woman lacking discernment because, I mean, there are signs. There's always things that will tell you if a person is mature or not. But they saw something that they wanted and they went for that in lieu of something else.
I think that oftentimes people, though, like when they're looking to choose somebody, like women or men, that they choose somebody based off of their own insecurities. You know what I'm saying? And so they end up choosing someone lesser because they feel like that's all that they can achieve.
First of all, I think men as a whole should say what they mean what they say.
Integrity.
Because that if men do that and that alone, that covers every gamut of conversation we can have today. Whether that be relationships, how you deal with women, how you shoot your shot. Like one of the things that you and I said recently, like the greatest game that you can kick to a woman is telling the truth.
But see, that it takes a secure
the
man
greatest
to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Insecure
There
men
you go.
who are worried about losing out on
Yeah,
that prospect are going to lie to you to secure it. Instead of them saying, hey, this is what I want from you, and running the risk of her saying, okay, I'm not interested, let's go our separate ways, they're going to lie.
Yeah.
And that's a deeper issue with men. That's not even about them being a bad guy. That's about them not being able to deal with loss. Like you can't handle not having this thing you want.
So much of what we have discussed and will continue to discuss, it always comes down to the individual.
Yeah.
It really just always comes down to the completeness of the individual, the wisdom of the individual, how well they know themselves, and taking the time to really look at yourself and figure out if you're even ready to be in that kind of situation. And a lot of the issue is most men don't realize that they were designed to be leaders.
Yeah.
That they were designed to be,
But are they though?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All men are designed to be leaders?
I think in the initial creation, yes. Now, once you get into it, then it goes all down.
Like I
The-
said,
a
the
part of
word
the
man,
Right.
the word man comes from a word that means to initiate. It's almost a verb.
And that's always the
Yeah,
problem.
but there's always men that are stronger than other men.
The
Yeah,
problem
it doesn't
is,
matter. I
but
didn't say
but
initiate.
there's always
You
men
ain't got to
who are
initiate
led by
moving a
other
mountain.
men.
Maybe you can move a molehill, but initiate that, man.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you
But-
don't
but-
have to
but
be
here's-
doing the same thing as another man.
but this is
just
what I
make
mean,
the
right?
first
So you're
move.
saying there's always going to be men that are led by other men.
Yeah.
How do you break that down? Because, like, okay, you saying if I work at a job, I work for a boss,
You can't be a boss.
No, if you're working a job and you work for a boss, essentially you're supporting that boss's vision.
Right.
So you're not supporting the vision that you had unless that was your vision for yourself,
But-
which is to work for another man's vision.
Right,
But-
then you're doing both.
but when
And most people in the world are in the position of working for somebody else's
Yeah.
vision.
But here's what people don't do. Here's what people don't go to the workplace as an example and figure out how can I handle my position to the best of my ability. Because I'm still like I don't own the company I work for. I'm a project coordinator there, but I can still have a vision for my position and what I want to
Yeah.
get done.
Right,
and a
right.
part of my vision can be supporting
And
my.
you can-
So
you
what
can-
I'm saying
you can
is
be intuitive
every
and-
aspect of life we still have to deal with ourselves. We still have to aspects of like self-control and love and all those elements, and we can bring that into
So you can
everything
be a
that we
leader
do.
at the level of what
Even
your
when you're not,
vision is.
Yeah.
you can be
Yeah.
a leader even when
Okay.
you're not in charge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You
Well,
know what I'm
see,
saying?
but I think when we start talking about beta male, not
A man
necessarily.
that's getting a job is not necessarily a beta male.
Right.
No,
But-
for sure.
but
And
I was
what
using
we're
that as
talking
an
about
example.
mostly is interpersonal relationship between man and female, not
Right.
necessarily just on the
Right.
job and stuff like that.
Just in
But
general.
between
Yeah.
a man and a female, there's no female out there, no matter how alpha she might be, that doesn't want to see a man be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And she doesn't want to follow somebody who's willing to lead. Like
Right.
they can say that all they want to, but their nature is to
Right.
respond to when a man leads.
So I think Blue.
And the only way for them to find out that is their nature really is for a man to be that example and be like, man, I really just want to
Fall
do
back.
that. That sounds like a great idea.
So
Right.
I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not saying I disagree with it either. I'm just gonna say I don't know. I made a joke on Facebook the other day that I was gonna start a church called the Church of I Don't Know.
Nice.
And the only
And
way
I
for you
will
to-
be in your church.
That's awesome.
and
I love that.
the only way you can get in the ceremony is you have to admit that you don't know anything.
And we're learning.
And then you're in, right? And
believe it.
So that's,
I don't know
that's
nothing.
the only
I really
requirement
don't know.
is you have to say I don't know, and that's cool, and you're in,
Love
right?
that.
And so I say all that to say this. So I don't know which way that what a woman's nature fundamentally is. I have no idea about any of that. What I do know is there are a bunch of men out there who claim to be alpha males or claim to be the leaders of their household, or even claim to be gods. You call yourself a god or whatever you're calling yourself. You're the head of your family. And my comment is to you guys. if you're a man that speaks like that, then the responsibility for how the situation turns out is on you.
Mm-hmm.
You are no longer afforded the luxury of saying, but what about women? Oh, but they do this too.
So-
or she does blah, blah. You don't. If you're the leader, when I was in the military, if I am in charge of this group of people, I'm responsible
Your
for everything.
superiors ain't gonna go talk to them.
It's me. I'm responsible
Exactly.
for how this turns out.
Yeah.
If the situation between men and women is messed up, you have to look at yourself and say, how can I, not even saying I blame myself, it's my fault. Forget fault. At this point, you have to look at yourself and say, okay, what can I do personally to fix it? Or to try to help it or make some type of forward progress. Not looking at the female counterpart and saying, okay, well, women do it also, or they're also responsible. If you're the alpha, this is God, alpha male, leader of the head of the household, leader of the pack, whatever you are, it's on you. It's your job. If that's the mantle you're adopting for yourself, then you are responsible for how it turns out.
Now,
That
let me
means
just
it's on you.
interject. I know a lot of alpha males, and I've never heard one of them say I'm an alpha male.
Yeah.
But if you say that,
If you're self-proclaiming this thing, or you're whatever,
I never heard anybody look. Hey, I'm alpha here.
I'm
Like, no,
that dude.
Never seen that.
Right, but if you are,
But if you that dude,
Then that-
understand you just put that on you.
right, what comes with that is you don't get to point the finger anymore.
Nobody.
That's
Right.
not how
Right.
that works.
Yeah, that's another thing they need to know is that, you can fail in front of a real woman, but you can't not try.
Right.
That's really what women will have specifics for you, so it's very misleading when they tell you why they're angry. they will have you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. But if you had done this and it worked, she wouldn't be talking about none of that. Because you did something and it worked. That's all she really cares about. She's just telling you this because that's what she has in her mind to tell you. But really her issue is, and that's another thing men need to know, hardly ever is a woman speaking on her actual issue.
Right.
Hardly
Facts.
ever. Now, she is speaking on something related to her issue because it's reached a point emotionally where it's coming out, but she's not getting to the heart of the issue necessarily when she's upset with you. That's not really when you're going to hear what the actual issue is. And if you're not intuitive enough to know that this is about this and act intuitively, that's really part of being a man, is acting intuitively in the first place about anything. That's what we are supposed to be able to do.
And with females too, a lot of times what I've noticed is some females are not going to tell you what the real problem is because they're afraid of hurting your insecure.
Yeah, because you're already insecure. It's like if I really tell him,
you know what I mean? Like, you need to man up. Most women are not going to say that to you, even though that might be the issue, because there's these men who think they're so strong, but your masculinity is so fragile. It's
and they
so
know how fragile it is.
They know,
Like,
women know.
But
So
at
like-
some point, shouldn't we get to a place where like, yo, you just need to accept it for what it is? Like,
If
like,
you-
like, cause hold on.
Except what?
Like, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, if you keep dropping
As a
the
man?
ball as a man, then they need to speak on it. Like, yo, because it may be an instance where, look, you know what? I just don't see it. I don't realize it. And it takes somebody else. Now, you may not want to hear it from one of your girls, but that's why I got y'all. Like, and please believe, I got some of the biggest haters on this panel who will tell me whatever they feel as though I need to know. You know what I'm saying? And, like, I love Brandon for that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they got real specific. See what I'm saying? When they talk
Listen.
specific,
yeah, no,
I'm
no,
glad
but-
to be the friend to tell you the truth.
you really,
And,
no,
but,
for real.
but
Sorry.
see, that's the
For
problem.
real.
That's the other thing. Men,
do you think I'm wrong for that?
well,
Yes.
men, men
Yes.
need accountability partners. Like, I don't care
I will
what they
absolutely
say.
tell
Like,
you if you're wrong.
I used to hear
Men
that.
should be automatic accountability part.
They
We shouldn't even have
should
to
be.
call it that. We
They should be.
But that's an aspect
They
of
should
leadership.
be.
that-
That's
If you
an
call a
aspect of
dude your
leadership.
friend, then that should come with it.
But you know what
Because
that
my thing
is?
is, being a
You know
friend
what that
doesn't mean
is?
that you telling me what I want to hear. There's
Yeah.
been like we literally had. First of all, we don't argue, but we have like debates, and
Right.
we try to outwit
Right,
the
right.
other person. But like we were having that
You have
conversation,
debates.
huh? But like we go back.
Bounces his ideas off my
Like-
impervious body.
But like we go back and forth. He said something to me that I didn't want to hear. Brandon damn sure he said something to me that I didn't want to
I
hear.
actually enjoy it.
And Joaquin,
I'd rather look forward to it.
and Joaquin make you never want to ask somebody to pray for you ever again. So like,
Oh, was you gonna leave me out?
I mean, so far you haven't joined the misfit of the island of
You
misfit
haven't been
toys.
paying attention.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Never mind. Keep
Fine.
going.
It's
And-
your highest thing
listen,
of blue is
And
blinding you.
Bluetooth won't work
The
with any of
daggers
his
he's been
music.
stabbing
No,
into
look, look, and Bluetooth,
I mean,
yo, Blue won't work with any of his musically. Any
Gotta
of it.
separate business and friendship. All right.
We friends.
All right,
but
guys.
He
Enough
was
of
like-
that.
I don't want you guys to believe that.
well, you all are professional musicians.
I don't want you to believe that at all.
First of all, Grammy nominated, still not working with Blue. Gave Blue an opportunity. Okay, you know right now. I
How
ain't
is
gonna
this
go
about?
This is not what men need to know. They
Well,
don't need to
what
know.
men need
If
to
these
know
men
is
don't need to know that.
All right.
we're gonna edit this whole part out. But,
Right.
but no, like so. But no, I definitely think men need accountability partners because, like I said, there may be something that you're not seeing in yourself.
Your accountability partner is your wife.
No.
That's
Or
if you're
your
married.
girl.
Because
No.
but if you're
Or
single,
if
you ain't
Your
got that.
accountability partner is yourself.
Yes.
Or
If you're
yourself.
It's
prepared.
gotta be you
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
But you have
yeah.
to
What, I'm gonna
know-
have somebody else come in the
No,
family
but
and I
that's
can't.
something
But you have
I
to
see
know.
about you.
Yes.
But you
No,
have
no,
to
I
know
feel-
that you
I
need
feel
that.
that.
That's
Because
what you got
there's
to
this
be
thing called
accountable for.
objectivity. And objectivity is a tool. And only another person has it.
Right.
Because
from
we-
that perspective, you need someone who can say, I'm looking at this, you're a part of what I'm looking at, and I'm looking at this. And I can see that your part is affecting this part this way. I might even be able to give you some insight that you don't even see.
Right, but I would say that the total accountability partner is God. But like you said,
Yeah.
not everybody gets married. So what happens to the single man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why
Who's
he's
60,
saying
70.
and that's why so you need
You
that
need men who are
because
accountability partners.
But you
listen,
also
But
gotta-
even
you
but,
I
but
can
no,
honestly say you've never
nobody else can be responsible for your growth.
No.
Nobody.
No, that
no,
doesn't
no,
make
no,
you
no.
responsible.
Re-
That
No, I
doesn't-
feel you.
responsibility and
It's
accountability is two
good
totally
if
different
you
things.
it's good if you can have it. But if you
Right.
don't, it doesn't change the fact that I'm still
Yeah,
responsible.
and it's
for
important to
what-
understand that too.
I,
because-
I'm responsible
I
for
ain't
what
had no
I.
accountability partner.
Right.
So
I'm
yeah,
responsible-
You can't do that either.
You
No,
can't.
no, I'm just saying.
I get that.
I'm just
It
saying.
allows another excuse for me.
All I'm saying is,
I don't
But
have an
at the end of the
accountability
day-
partner.
But you do though.
at the end of the day,
But
You got people,
Brandon.
but you know you got people that'll check you if you out of
I
pocket
have
for real.
people who try to check me, but I still do my pocket.
But the thing is, being an accountability partner is not saying that I can make you do
No.
anything. It's a matter of I bring it to your attention.
just showing-
Either I'm going to hear
Right.
you
Showing to
and
you.
change,
Right.
or I'm gonna be like, all right, cool, thanks for telling me,
All I'm-
and you gonna keep it
all I'm
moving.
But it's
saying-
not a necessity though.
right. All I'm saying is least common
Yeah, I think that's-
denominator.
yeah, okay,
is
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I am responsible for what I
Because-
put out into the world.
Right. And we're talking
Me.
about at the end of the day also you need to be the type of man that's already looking to improve yourself and
Yes.
already
Right.
using some
Exactly.
introspection and
Thank
looking
you.
at yourself and saying, okay,
Where
where
does
am
that
I-
where does that come
Because-
from?
I'm just what I'm saying is if I
It comes
approach a
from
man
not
who's
getting
not
a woman
it's-
because you ain't what you're supposed to be.
right.
And by you,
We mean
he means
you.
everyone in every male in the world.
Yeah, that's where it's coming from. So I just
Yeah, that was a
but
general.
no,
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you can have your accountability partner is not going to help you if you're not
Fails.
already actively trying to improve yourself, right?
Right.
Right.
Same
Yeah.
thing goes for a woman. A woman is not going to be able to tell you the truth
She's
about
not gonna
yourself
matter.
and you improve from it.
Because she's gonna tell you and you're not
It's
gonna
going to
listen.
destroy you because you're already not in a place where you're receptive.
Right.
All right, so
already-
listen, like men are simple though, man. Like we're some fairly intelligent guys, right?
Right.
But most men, they ain't that smart. They getting cheated on. They getting all kind of stuff going on because they don't function on a
Oblivious.
higher level. See, every one of us here, we have developed talents, we've developed skills, we've developed all this stuff because we kind of, we're kind of alpha. On this side, right?
Yes.
But
Yo.
I mean, but the truth of the matter
Sandra, you didn't say
is,
that.
we're around men who we know
Yeah.
these
Exactly.
dudes are struggling. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right.
And their girls are looking elsewhere, and then this and that is happening. We need to be trying to address those guys and like pull their coat and say, "Yo, y'all need to check yourself."
And here's a big difference too. Men like us will seek out other men who build us up and talk to
Right.
our dysfunction to lift it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Men
Yeah.
like that will hang around with people who feed into the dysfunctional narrative.
Right.
That's a big
And
difference.
someone
Yeah.
who's feeding into your dysfunction is not your
Right.
friend.
Not
They're
your
not
friend.
your friend.
Right.
Not your friend.
Pay attention. Well, I was telling
Right,
somebody this
right.
the other day. We all go through these periods where we're off our game, right? I rarely have a bad day, so I might have a bad 10 minutes. I'm different, right?
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what?
But
Me and you were.
There's people, but it's human, right? It's human. We're never always
you know,
going to
like
be
that whole
on our game,
camera
right?
shot
We're gonna
disappeared.
fall off, right? What you should pay attention to is in your moments when you've fallen off and you're indulging in dysfunction. You need to pay attention when you finally get out of it. Everything's clear now. You're seeing a little bit more clearly. Pay attention to the people who were encouraging you in your dysfunction, and then get rid of those people.
Get rid of them.
When you finally come out of it and you're back to thinking
Wow.
clearly, look back at your period of dysfunction and say, who was encouraging me to indulge in all this stuff? Who was pushing me into this detrimental activity?
Yeah.
And then cut those people out of your life.
All right, let's give the guys some game, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, let's give the guys some game out there.
Okay.
Trey had mentioned one thing. When you tell the truth, that appears to be game because the universe is filled of liars, right?
Yeah.
So when you're the one guy that tells the truth, that makes you an alpha, betas.
Because you don't need to
Because
lie.
it automatically shows that you're secure in the decisions that you make,
Yeah.
and you're secure in the person you are. So when I got with my wife, I said, listen, if I want to watch a nasty movie, guess what? I'm going to watch a nasty movie.
movies?
Right? So, right, most men won't admit that they watch nasty movies. But I told my wife I do watch a nasty movie every now and then. So you gotta-
I do indulge in a
yeah,
nasty movie.
so, but when women get the truth from you, no matter how bad you think it is, women, the biggest thing that we can offer them is security. And
Yeah.
it's not about finances. Immature women think it's all financial. But emotionally, if we can offer them security,
Yep.
that is the number one thing a man can offer a woman. And so one of the biggest things is telling the truth. A woman knows, like, okay, I know what to expect. I got a dude that will look at a girl's ass if I ain't giving him ass. You know what I'm saying? And with that, she knows her role. She knows what she has to do in order to keep this man happy. So truth is the number one thing that
And when you're telling
Yeah.
when you're telling the truth to a woman, and she's assuming that you are secure enough to be cool with whichever way the situation falls out. Women are attracted to a man who's not so over eager. Right?
Right.
So when you're so secure in your situation that I'm gonna say this is what I want from you, and I'm willing to make peace and be okay with whichever way the situation goes, your yes or your no, they usually lean a little bit more towards the yes. It works in your favor because women don't want an overeager, crazy dude. It makes you seem desperate, and they don't.
So
women
learning
don't
how to tell
respond
the
with
truth
desperation.
automatically puts you one step above the average guy.
Right?
So
Because you're
that-
not
that's an
desperate.
easy
You're
one
okay.
to
Unless
work
your
on.
truth is, I'm a serial rapist.
Wait a
Right.
minute.
Then,
You know what I'm saying?
maybe not.
But
There's
some
women
who
out
like
there that
stuff.
like that. Listen, let me tell you something.
Lisa
No, I'm
told
just
me.
keeping it real.
Whose man is this?
Listen. I'm just keeping it real, right? Listen, no, listen. Let's keep it real though. Ted Bundy, right? When he was in jail, a woman married him. Richard Ramirez had several marriage offers while he was in prison. There are women out there that will
Somebody is
accept
going to
you
go.
whoever you are.
Yeah. So honestly,
And one reason for that is because there's always fewer men than there are women.
right.
this is true.
Always. And
Which as a
I'm
man
sorry.
should make us
There's
step
two
up.
levels to that. There's always
two levels
fewer
to it.
males than there are females. And beyond that, there's always fewer men than there are males.
Right.
And there's way fewer men than there are women.
So men that tell the truth, that's a commodity that you can develop that will put you one step ahead of most guys.
because you don't have to lie to get what you want.
But no,
You have to lie if you are too afraid to not get it from that specific person you're telling the truth to. That's when men lie. If you were okay with not getting it from this one, but being able to get it from that person, you would tell the truth all the time. It wouldn't matter. You would say, hey, I want this. And she said, I don't do that. Cool. Hey, next person, I want this. And she said, I'm not with it. Okay, cool. Until you find somebody that's with it, but that's not you. You want her at any cost. And that's an issue with you. That's a problem that you really look at yourself and say, why do I feel like I have to have this?
A man doesn't want anything at any cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A man doesn't want anything at any cost. A man is governed by his principles, not
Amen.
even his desires. A man is not
Amen.
governed by what he wants. A man is governed by his ultimate purpose. Of course, then you have to know what that is.
Right.
So,
And then you bring
that's
God
the
back
first
into
order
the
of
picture, who
business.
is what?
The
The
first
number
order of
one
business is
accountant.
finding out who you are. if you don't even know what makes you tick, you're not gonna make the right decisions. And a lot of when they say men mature slower, there's some truth to that. There's some ways that we mature faster, but in certain ways, women definitely mature faster because they have like I was saying in the what women want, they have an idea of the clock from the get-go, and they look way toward the future before we do. Mm-hmm. But we need to develop more of that as far as who am I, what do I really want, what is my ultimate objective, and be flexible enough about that, but also certain to some extent. Like in order to offer stability, in order to offer, and a lot of these things, by the way, are not verbal. We can only tell you what to say, but women are really responding to a be verb, like a is, like your are, what you are. When you walk into a room, how do they feel? That has a lot to do with all the stuff that we're talking about. You being resolved within yourself, who you are. A woman knows when you know who you are before she knows who you are. She wants to find out what you already know. And if she finds out what you don't know, then she's not finding out who you are, which is not attractive to her, because she's going to operate based upon an untruth. And then when you operate based on an untruth, eventually you're going to find out the truth and find out that wasn't the way to operate. And all that time is wasted, and women always are conscious of time because they have ovaries at the end of the day. That's really what it is. Like, at the end of the day, it's because they have a cycle where they have a time in their life where they can have children, where they can do all the things that they want to do. So they're like, I only got this long to do this. I can't be dealing with people who are unstable because at the last minute, when my ovaries about to shut down, dude could be doing some crazy stuff, and I wouldn't know. So that stability that they get from us actually comes from our inner knowledge coming out, not things that you say to make them feel that way. You'll always say the thing to make them feel that way if that's who you are. So work on you first.
And I think women are much more introspective to me naturally than men.
Yeah.
They
Definitely.
do a lot more
and
soul searching.
and intuitive.
Yeah,
For sure.
But I think that's it's a fragility and an insecurity that men have that we're not willing to address. Because if you have to sit and look at yourself and really identify who you are, there's some things that are going to come up that you don't like, you're not comfortable with, and we're not willing to allow any. It's only, but see, with most men don't associate flexibility and fluidity with masculinity. So they want to stay. I am this. This is how I am. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to shake it up. I don't want to do any soul searching and end up on shaking ground. Okay. Right. So most men naturally do not go in that direction. They have to be told by another man who's gone there. I think, and this is what I do with men, and it's kind of like my purpose now, is to explain that flexibility doesn't mean that you're not masculine. No. It doesn't mean that you're soft. It doesn't. The strongest structures in the world are flexible. The buildings that don't fall down, they have to bend. Like that's strength. Strength is not rigidity. That's not strength. No. That's fragility. That's why glass breaks. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's so rigid.
To bend.
Yes, that's. Yeah. So it's this idea that's been pushed to us that men we can't go soul searching and we can't be unsure and we can't become
sign of weakness.
Can't get in touch with our emotions. You know what I mean? And we could go back into history and say, okay, it's a product of the environment that men were raised in the United States and how we didn't have the opportunity to be soft because we were being raised in a hostile environment and we had to be hard. All that's true, but we're not there anymore. It's still hostile, but it's not.
We trying to make her pay for that?
Or whatever it is. You know
so she didn't do it.
Now is the time. Now is the time for you to really get to know yourself. And when you get to know yourself, these women will gravitate to you.
That's the most vital thing you can do before getting into any kind of relationship.
Yeah, you should not feel like you're in a position to make decisions until you know that.
Yeah, no.
Right.
There's cultures that have rites of passage where they actually do things to let you know that you're of age now. You're at the age of accountability, or you're at this age where you should be able to do this. And those cultures have actual more real markers than our culture has. Like our culture has a whole bunch of things that you really don't even need to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's real.
But there are cultures out there that have things. They have real markers. If you can do this and you can navigate through this at this age, then you're ready to be a man. And they actually work. And they're like, okay, well then because that developed this skill, that developed that skill, which I'll need to use in order to be a better man to a woman and to my friends and all that. But the older members of the community know that, and they give it to the younger members of the community. We don't always have that at our disposal.
Mm-hmm. And you go through these trials that, whether that's some type of, initiation or whatever it is, that really, exposes you to you.
Yeah.
You know, you learn about yourself. When you're getting
Here we
these
have
arguments.
women.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what
So, can we jump back to what the women need to know for just a second? And
Hey,
something that we stated there is, we need to understand that every day we wake up and make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
whether that be in relationships with your significant other, or whatever your interest is, whether that be through work, whether that be spiritually, or what have you, we wake up every single day and make a choice. Conjo said something to me a couple months ago. He was like, but I wake up every day and I choose to be happy. Like,
Yeah.
I choose to be happy. Why would I want to put that other energy out there? I
I
choose to
obsess
be.
about being happy.
Okay.
Some people don't. Some people
Yeah,
don't.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Huh.
Listen, I obsess about being happy because energy is real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no matter what your religious faith is, there's an energy that comes with that makes things happen. And I have been around all religions, all people of no religion. There's a certain energy that moves people. Energy is real. So what I found is that the energy of love tends to be the strongest force
Yes.
in the universe.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's the most persuasive force in the universe. So I obsess about love. I obsess about becoming more loving. I obsess about loving more about the planet, about people, about differences in people. So my obsession with love, it drives me every single day to become a better person. And with that, you become more open to everyone and everything. And when you're more open to everyone and everything, guess what? You become more intelligent. You
Yeah.
become more enlightened.
Yeah.
You become more of a man.
More attractive.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that a man can do is obsess about being a loving individual, starting by loving yourself. Men,
Yeah.
Right.
love yourself. Don't be afraid to wash your ass every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just keeping it real. Wash your clothes, smell good. Look, I don't care if somebody says, hey, you're metrosexual, whatever that is.
Right.
Women love gay men for a reason. 'Cause
Right.
They take care
Facts.
of themselves.
And the
You know what I'm
secure.
saying? Right.
It's,
And
it's the
secure with
security of it.
And,
knowing
and,
yourself.
and how they call them gay because the word gay means happy, right? Because when they finally accept who they really are, they're more in touch with their identity than we are as heterosexual men. They are not afraid to laugh silly and to be goofy, but we always got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We always have to maintain this facade that is not necessarily who we are completely.
Yeah.
When you embrace who you are completely and you obsess about love, then you attract people and then you
Yeah.
attract women. Everyone wants to be around a happy person.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be around the tough guy all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you want to win,
And that's the
guys,
most muscular man in the room saying.
right?
Yo,
I
but
built
what's so
all of
funny is
this
what's so funny is so
With love.
with love. When you
when
see
we
me
go
in the gym,
it's love.
It's a heart under this pants.
bro,
But
if
like-
you see me in the gym lifting weights, you don't hear me, I don't build this out of
Yeah.
aggression.
Yeah.
I build this out of the art of muscle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I'm training, I train differently than most people. I'm training with the idea of developing the art. You know what I'm saying? Of each part of my body because it's art to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I train people with the same concepts of love and art. I don't train them with aggression. Aggression can only get you to the point that you have that aggression.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? And there's only so
Ain't
much
nobody
power
that
in aggression,
aggressive.
and there's a limit of time in aggression.
Yes.
You can have an aggressive moment that allows you to move something.
But not sustained.
But then you can have a
Not
loving
built for
moment that
sustainable
allows
change.
you to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
So I build this out of love. You see me lift all kind of crazy weights. I'm doing that here and with my love, and I get in touch with my universe when I'm touching the weights. When I grab the weights, I literally place myself in them and I take control of them. When I plant my feet, I plant my feet. And I get in touch with my universe and draw up power from that. Right? So if you obsess about love, men,
Yeah.
then you will
Right.
attract women.
But that's now I'm a Christian, but I totally agree with everything that you just said.
Absolutely.
That's the foundation of the Bible
100%,
is love. 1
Yeah.
Corinthians 13 explains, and everything that you see in 1 Corinthians 13 is that love only brings. Love is never meant to take. Love is never
Right.
selfish. Love is never angry. Love is never aggressive. It's not trying to assert itself. It's all about, what can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I serve you?
Yeah.
And it gives me the idea of being in a room full of people, and the aggressive nature is to, I don't like that color blue.
right.
I don't like your idea. I need to hold on to what I got, and I don't want this to be affected. But I find myself in the corner by myself,
Right.
all alone, as
Right.
opposed to opening my arms up.
Right.
And now everything that you know, I have access to. Everything that you know, I have access to. And that's the idea of love, because all I did
Right.
was just come to serve and just to assist you, and it just opens doors. It's
But we
transformative.
train
and-
our boys the opposite of
Yeah,
that.
we do.
Yeah,
I don't.
we don't train because we train
We
them,
We
shouldn't.
don't
Yeah.
train them to be loving beings.
and we
Right.
don't train them to be led. We
Right.
train them to lead, but you have to have been led.
You can't
to
lead.
make
Right,
a
right.
good leader. You
Right.
have to
Even
have.
fathers don't train their sons to be loving. They train their sons
Well,
to be
that's-
aggressive
Well,
beings.
do you remember the
You know?
conversation
Can't
we had?
sustain anything.
Right.
Do you remember the conversation we had? This was some time ago. I think Brandon, you and I also had it, and I made the statement that when we raise our children, we tell our daughters, "You're beautiful, you're strong, you can be anything you want to be." We instill that independence. But for our boys, it's like, all right, well, go get it, strap up.
Right.
Look who made it. You know what I mean?
And we make it almost a negative thing for a boy to say, "I love a girl." Like, we
Yeah, my dad told
literally
me
be
don't
like,
say
"Oh,
it."
don't be a sucker for love." Like, we associate love as a weakness,
What
as opposed to a strength.
What was funny?
Like, if you fall in love with a girl from the jump, we're like, "Oh, you a sucker for love."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we associate as males, we think that to like the conquest of tackling more women is a representation of being an alpha male, as opposed to the ability to love a woman and to generate a universe from that woman. You see what I'm saying? So we have a different way of seeing what being an alpha male is. The more loving a being can be, the more they can attract things, the more they can lead things.
And the more they can
Whose
produce.
man is this?
And
Like, he ain't in this prolific.
a lot of times, a lot of this is not do statements. It's be statements.
Right.
It's back to that. It's not what you do. It's not if you do these things, then you're an alpha man.
Right.
There's nothing you can do to become an alpha male. There's something you can be, and that is an alpha male.
Right.
So
Right.
there's no set of steps. We're definitely not gonna get. If we got on camera and told you can do these 10 things, we probably get a whole lot of views.
Right.
Yeah, we would be lying because
Right.
one man can do those 10 things, and another man can do one of them, and the one that does one of them is an alpha male because of what he is. So you really need to plant within yourself before you start planting everywhere else. And when you come to, why are you insecure? Because you might not have anything to offer her that she might need. If you know that you do, what need is there to be insecure?
But
And
it's okay to not know. Like,
Right.
I mean, like, yo, because like, let's be honest, yo. I remember the four of us. Sorry, Blue, you wasn't in the picture this
A
time.
lot of things that are happening.
It's all right.
I'm
But like,
You're in
I
the
just
story.
noticed the
Yeah,
trend, and I
but-
wasn't there.
But like, we had conversations, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
bro.
because I love when women be like, "Well, what do you bring to the table?" Like, I'll ask a girl, and she's like, "Shit, I bring the whole table." No, you don't. But for men, it's like, yo, like, I'm a good dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm a good person.
yeah.
I'm a loving person. I have some tendencies that may not be smiled upon in the best light. I'm working on it. However, but like, I really one day really sat down and really started to think about that question. Like, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I was coming up with, I felt was superficial. Like, David Banner posted a video on Instagram day before yesterday, and he was like, "Do not give me praise for doing what I'm supposed to do."
Right.
And like, it's like a lot of these boys, because I'm not going to dignify them and give them respect to calling them men.
Yeah.
These boys are just looking for affirmation. Like, no, you're supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, no.
It's not a natural thing, though. If you're growing up in a society where they're telling you this is what a man is,
Right.
Right.
this is what a man does, this, and this, and this, and this. They're not telling. I haven't ever heard another man say, A man is someone who's brave enough to look at themselves and be real with themselves,
Yes.
and then to work on themselves. I've never heard another man.
Right.
You hear about
been
money,
dude.
you
I've
hear
been
about
blessed. I've been blessed. That's what my father instilled in me and my brother.
It takes
You know
a-
what I'm
and
saying?
That's a big part of the problem.
It's-
Can you buy a house? Can you
Right.
bring a car? Do you have a great job?
No
Do
man.
you have finances?
I
It's never
hear a
about
man saying,
character.
Yo, look at yourself, identify your traits and your qualities, the negative and the positive, and then get to work on the negative. I never hear men say
But
that.
but once again, I'm sheltered and I live in a bubble. I only deal with like 5 people. Most of them in this room right now.
Right.
So
Right, but no man said that to me,
So
though.
I remember pre-Buddha,
That's what I'm
pre-Zen,
saying.
pre-I can levitate Joaquin. And even at that point, you said that to me because we were just on a different level and plane of existence. I get that. But my thing is, before we got cool, you would still drop gems. Like we go out and I told Conjo, I was like, yeah, you cool, whatever. But like Conjo has you all right, you know what I'm saying? But Conjo has a very disarming tone in his voice.
Yeah.
So we'll go out, have a good time. He loves to dance. I told y'all he dainty and nimble. I love to
Rhinoceros.
dance. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go out and women just automatically gravitate to us. I mean, I've seen women give their whole life story to Conjo, and I'm like, can you please bring me my water? It's hot in here. Like, you know?
Same things happen with me, like even in like, let's say a strip club or whatever. I end up having like a real conversation with.
All the time.
It's because, but again, it's because I don't have
Intentions.
I don't have intentions or I don't have expectations.
Women feel that.
They feel it.
Women sense that.
Like,
But that comes from being open.
We need
You
to
know
talk
what I'm
about that as far as what men should know.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even gloss over that.
Yeah,
The fact that
women absolutely
Yeah,
sense.
you got to value what they got, regardless of how it comes out. Because what they got might come out in an unfavorable way, but there is a root to that tree. And a lot of times, being a man is ignoring the leaves for the root because this is not a piece of lettuce. This is a potato.
yeah.
Back to food.
The nourishment is not in the leaves. The nourishment is in the root. So if you can just let all that just fall off your back. Yeah, that was disrespectful. Yeah, she just said, yeah, okay. Well, she's in an emotional state right now where I can deal with that and I can help her to understand that is not the way you talk to a man. However, I can do that without ignoring the fact that there is a reason for it, and that will help you to deal with it because what her real problem is that you can't see the root for all these leaves that I'm giving you because you pissed me off, right?
Yeah.
But you pissed me off in a real way about a real thing, and that's what the root is about. However good she is about expressing it,
Or
So,
have a
you know.
conversation with your woman about how she speaks to you and about how you speak to her.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, it's not just her.
Have a
Sometimes
conversation.
you may need to leave. That doesn't mean that you disregard a lesson, right? There still was a lesson there for
if
you.
you if
You know what I'm saying?
if you have that conversation with her about those leaves, acknowledge the fact that there's a root.
Right. And if you're not willing
She's
to
not
work,
all the way crazy. If she is all the way crazy, there's no point in having the conversation.
have it
Okay.
first
Why are you
seat, right?
sitting there
So
if she's all the way crazy? So by the fact that you're sitting there and talking to her, you are acknowledging that she's not all the way crazy, or you are. So since you've already acknowledged that by having a conversation with her at all, let's go ahead and give her the credit for the root, regardless of how she expressed it, and then you both can learn from the same experience.
And don't try to make a woman feel crazy.
wait a minute.
That's-
Wait a minute.
No,
Oh,
because
that's worse.
That's the worst thing you can do.
no.
We all said, "Woo."
Yeah, no.
Don't
Do not
use
point
words
out the
like
obvious.
Relax.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because they
calm
want-
down. Can you
because-
chill for a minute?
Because now you're being dismissive.
You're being
and acting like
inflammatory.
this didn't come from
Like,
somewhere.
oh, I got another one.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
doing
like
the
it
most.
didn't come somewhere, and then they feel like that, and you can't blame them for feeling that
Yeah.
way. Because you react the same way if you had an issue and somebody came, regardless of how you dealt with the issue, you would still be upset if they didn't acknowledge that the issue existed.
Hold on,
That's
Blue,
really
Blue.
what her issue.
So with the acknowledging of it, right, and the reaction, there is something that is pivotal that is known, or at least should be known. Stop beating your damn women. There is no reason.
Yeah, that ain't.
And
we don't even.
listen.
Well, I mean, that's something.
Listen.
I forgot y'all exist. I wouldn't
Like-
want to talk to
We
y'all.
don't even glorify that mess.
No, but I'm
That's
just saying because like
goofiest.
every single time we turn on the TV, turn on sports, another person has beat their wife, beat their girlfriend. I'm like, whose man's is this? Like, I know I done said that a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, before it was you, because I'm so impressed with you today.
Right, that's a whole different kind of business.
But, like, I don't
Never
get that.
been
Like,
one.
But
You
Joaquin
know, I
touched
kinda-
on that when he said know when to walk away. But these are things that a man only knows after he gets to know himself. Because if you don't know when to walk away, the way you find out is
You
by
get put in a
whooping
situation.
somebody ass. Like that's actually how you find out.
But if you obsessed with love, you never get to that point. See, a person who's obsessed with love,
But you can
no
beat
matter
somebody
what
up.
the problem is, I'm gonna tell you now. And listen,
Because
I've
I love
done a
myself
lot
enough to walk
of.
away.
Understand this.
Right.
I've done a lot of bad shit in relationships, right?
Right, so we should listen to you.
So you guys should probably hear how I handle this shit.
Come on,
Because
Professor
I
Conrad.
have not always been a good guy, right? But I'm gonna tell you like this: no matter how pissed off you are at somebody who has chosen to be with you and what they did or whatever, if you approach every single argument or discussion by saying, "Listen, I love you, but such and such and such," when you put love
When you
in
put
the
that in.
universe, no matter what,
Whoa.
it brings your energy back to where it needs to be, and it brings hers back, and then the objective becomes, how do we get back to the loving? So now I'm going to try to understand you, you're going to try to understand me. Every time I have a disagreement, if I'm so fueled that I can't say I love you first, then I space myself away. Let me go away, let me check myself, let me get back into a zone where I can go and talk to her and say, listen, babe, I love you. All right, but this and this and this.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And the moment you put that back in the universe, everything changes. There is not a fight that I can think of that escalated to fist swinging when somebody started it with "I love you."
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
obsession
Yeah.
with love produces all the right outcomes.
But I mean, I just wanted to state the obvious, just because I know that's
Right,
something that's
right.
super prevalent nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And
There's a man watching this right now on the way to
like,
beat up.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you listening to
wanna
us
say,
on YouTube,
don't
and you
do
was
it.
you
Don't
was
do
en
that.
route to ray somebody. Nah, Shawty.
I mean,
Nah,
I see that as I really firmly believe that men are designed to be leaders,
Yeah.
and I think that's just what you see is like that's leadership that's out of whack. That's
Yeah.
like
Right. You're
the
an
extreme
ineffective leader.
The extreme version of leadership is like being abusive and being a tyrant, and then there's the opposite side where you really don't lead at all. You maybe say you hold that position, but
You're right,
what
man.
You lead by changing the energy.
Yeah.
right,
Yes.
and you change it
Yes.
with love.
Yeah,
and
That's
positivity.
true. And y'all, like that
Yeah.
was a lesson that was
but you have
hard
to
for
be
me.
very aware to see that that's needed. You know what I'm saying?
And an effective
Yeah.
leader doesn't need to get to tyrant level.
Right.
Right.
I don't need to beat you into
Tyrant level is
That
because
means you're
you
not
have-
being effective.
Yeah.
At tyrant level, literally, you become that agitated when you have a failure of expressing yourself.
Right.
It's
Yes,
another
right.
it's another
You see?
insecurity.
And
Another-
so you're no
losing-
longer
losing-
leading.
Yeah,
You're
losing
being
control.
led by your
You're
emotions.
being led by your emotions. That's it.
Which means
So
you
you
failed,
have given over leadership
and you're now a
to
beta
something
male.
you have made more powerful than yourself.
That's a powerful thing that we should talk about too. I think men need to know more and get a deeper sense of emotions.
And what it means to be a leader.
Because
Yeah.
Right, both of those.
right, yeah, absolutely. It's important for us to know that our emotions really aren't ours. I look at everything like it comes from God, right? So God specifically knit our emotions into the fabric of our soul, right?
Okay.
So think of it as simply as when you get what you want, you respond. When you get
Yeah.
something that goes according to your own will, you respond with joy. When you get something that doesn't go along with your will, you respond with anger and frustration. It's important for us to know that because then we can better understand that our emotions are really just communication tools. And it's so important because so many guys, one of the biggest things that guys fall way short on all the time is communication. We don't know how to talk about how we feel.
Man.
We don't know how to talk about what we want. And then we wonder why we get stepped on because nobody really knows who we are.
And we don't know how to process how we feel either.
We don't know how to process how we feel. So it's super important that when we feel things, don't let that take you over. Don't let that, you can't respond out of the emotion or through the emotion because you're more likely to respond irrationally. But just take the time to sit and say, why do I feel this way? Why am I angry? What did she say that made me feel this way? Why do I feel insecure or belittled? What is in there that I need to deal with?
One of the worst things about anger is it makes you hasty.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
You
And
just
it never makes you hasty to do the right thing.
right. Very true.
How many times have you like written an email because you were upset with somebody and you wanted to tell them, right? And then you were about to hit send and you said,
Let me read it
again.
Let me read it. Let me read it.
let me read this. Let me, just checking for some grammatical errors.
All right.
In case I spelled something wrong. Let me just read it for that. Nah, dog, you read it because you know you might not. You might regret something you said. And then sometimes you don't send it that day. You get caught up in something else, you read the next day and you're like,
Nope.
Ooh, I almost said that.
I'm not sending that.
that was a little inflammatory. I don't know if I want to send it. Because you're not any longer in the emotional state wherein you would write that.
Yeah.
So now you can see
It
that that's
subsides.
not really how
And
you
you can
feel
see it a little bit more clearly.
ultimately.
So you know what's
and it
fun-
goes back to what he said because, and I tell people all the time, like anger cannot be sustained. Negative emotions are fleeting. It's like
Right.
carbohydrates and fat.
Right.
I know you know what I'm talking about. Because fat will sustain you for low level energy over a long period of time, which is why women are built for long distance, low energy. We will sprint. We will beat a woman in a short race, but she'll always beat you in a long race because she's built different. She's built for that, and we're built for the quick burst of energy. And a lot of times, because we're men and we're built for quick bursts of energy, we do that with our thoughts and we do that with our emotions, and it don't always have a place.
So is that an analogy to for saying women always have their eye on the end game?
Well,
Versus-
that's true.
Oh, okay.
That's true. But we sometimes have to go for fat instead of the carbohydrate burn. Like we need to go ahead and say, well, okay, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I would hope that it would not be over tonight. So I do have some time to process this, and it might be a good idea to do so. And you need to know yourself well enough to know when you've reached a point in your anger or in your resentment when you need to take a step back and do some processing and some honest introspection, like to the point where you can actually ask yourself questions honestly about where she's coming from and come up with the right answer and say, well, this, and come back to another person and be vulnerable. That's really being a man
Wait a
is
minute.
being vulnerable
Wait a minute.
because you can't initiate without vulnerability.
But see,
It's impossible.
It's risk.
If I'm asking you,
Every
hey, look, I want to take you somewhere, you just put yourself in a position where she
But
can
see,
say
we keep putting ourselves out there and speaking under the premise that we have reached a level that we can acknowledge our shortcomings or acknowledge our insecurities or what have you, right? Well, listening to y'all have raised valid points. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not disagreeing with you all. But what do you say to the person who hasn't reached that level where they're at a point where they can look at themselves and be like, yo, I don't brush my teeth every day. Maybe I should do that. Or like,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
in relation to women and having relationships with them, there's two ways that person can look at that. One way is I'm not ready to be in a relationship.
Right.
Right. The other one, because I have too many insecurities and she's gonna do nothing but magnify them.
Okay.
Right. And show me who I am. It's gonna make me angrier than I need to be. It's gonna make me make decisions that I need to figure some things out right now. And the other way is if you choose to be in a relationship with a woman or women or whatever you want to do, understand that they are there to help you with that process. So you got to be cool with the vulnerability. Like I just said, you got to be cool with she is going to see things, and you have to look at them as a way to accelerate the process of growth. If you look at them that way and you're full of love, as Kanjo has said, then they will help you and accelerate your path toward manhood or greatness or whatever you want to call it. If you're too insecure for that, then you probably shouldn't be around humans.
Right. We'll say it like this, right? So the first thing that I think this goes for not just for men, but men in particular, because we seem to deal with insecurities a lot more to me, or of a different nature than women, I would say, because women are insecure about different things, but they do not lack introspection. Most women are very familiar with introspection because our society forces them to look at themselves and assess themselves over and over again all the time. So that's something. It's almost something that women do too much. Is look at themselves and assess themselves, and men don't do enough of.
Yeah.
But the very first thing to do is to learn how to be okay with what you see. So we're telling you to go look, but what if you see something that you don't like? We haven't told you how to process that.
Yeah.
And that's something that I spend a lot of time talking to people about learning how to just be okay. I teach people how to get to equilibrium. You have to get to first. Let's get to just I'm okay.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
zero.
saying? I'm always going to be right now. The reason I'm so happy all the time, and it kind of too, I think it resonates with you. The reason why I'm able to be so happy all the time is because I know I'm going to be okay no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but that isn't something that's innate. That was something I had to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn to get there. And what that comes from is removing my attachments to all these things. These
All the
outcomes.
earthly things.
I don't have an attachment to the
Yes.
outcome of the situations or the relationships or the things I'm trying to goals. I don't have an attachment to any of that. I let go of all of that and decided to take ownership of my own happiness. Once I became capable of creating my own positive emotion, rather than going to get it from these other things, people, places, cars, whatever, things outside of myself. Once I became the producer of my own positive emotion, then I was able to be okay.
Yeah,
I make myself feel good.
Right.
And then I can go into these other situations knowing I'm producing the positive emotion. I'm not going into the situation to get it from that situation. And then when I don't get it from that situation, I'm now left with a deficit and a negative emotion, and now I'm going through this spiral. First, learn to produce your own positive emotion. Learn to put yourself in equilibrium, and then go into the relationship. You know what I
That's
mean?
the only way you really can.
You have to be okay
Yeah,
first. You know,
because we're not here for us. No one is here for themselves. Everyone is here for everybody else.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of the matter. So if you go through life, like I was talking to you guys before while we were eating just now, I was talking to them about when I came to California. I was like, my thoughts weren't what most people's thoughts are when they make that decision. I just came to California with a guitar, like I'm just going to get Grammys, right? But it was, my thought process was, I have a purpose, which is to provide something for the world that I can provide best there. Another person might think, that's the place I can get what I want to have for myself. That's the place I can siphon some of that energy into myself and get where I want to be. Well, that's not good for the world. That's not good for everything. That's only good for you because you've literally removed things from somewhere else and put it in you. You don't really have an idea of how you're going to make a contribution to the world. And love and giving go hand in hand. They're the same thing. You can't have one without the other. If you're minded in the way that you should provide something for the world, then you'll think of it differently. And if you're looking for someone that can give you the most, that is, you might win, but you're better off if you look for someone that you have the tools to give the most to.
And you're also positioning yourself for disaster by looking at things that way.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, you're putting too much on them and you.
and you're also
And nobody's ever gonna meet.
No,
it's
Nobody's
gonna be,
never gonna-
it becomes precarious.
It's not
right?
our job.
Because if that thing, if you're getting so much from this thing, if you're going, I'm coming to California to get this from California.
Yeah.
The minute you don't get it from California, you're in shambles.
Now
you're
you're not
destroyed.
happy.
You know what I mean? Like,
Now you're not
Well,
happy.
fellas, y'all know I love listening to y'all talk. So we've come to that time in the show. Then we gonna have to make this a part two.
all right. A lot of things that men need to know.
Because
It's a lot of
it really is a lot of things, but I think we set the groundwork, the foundation today. We opened the door for everybody to at least start to think whether they understand everything that goes into this, whether they have questions on the steps on how to proceed. At least today, we started the conversation, and yes, you can hit these men up.
Yeah.
Yo,
Please.
please hit up Joaquin, hit up Conjo, hit up Blue, hit up Brandon, aka Beacon. If you're gonna hit me up, I'm just setting up the tour so y'all can see this live, so you get to meet these gentlemen in person. Like, these are brilliant men, and we're just scratching the surface. So, this was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, even though there's still a lot left to discuss.
By the way, just piggybacking on that last statement, guys, we don't think that we're here to tell you all that. This is a joint effort. I know you guys are on that side of the camera and we're on this side of the camera, so it looks a certain way. But really, this is to start the conversation. This is for us to learn, just like it's for you to learn, and it's for us all as a people to become better.
And all of us are okay with saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
You
I don't know.
However,
I don't.
there is one thing that we can all say that we don't know. We all trying to figure out who man's this is, because
Yeah, I don't know who man is that is.
I don't know whose man that is. But we'll be back very soon with a new topic, new subject. I mean, if the comments and questions are rolling in the way they're supposed to, we may just pick back up with the part 2 of what men need to know, or we might do a part 2 of what women need to know. But we'll see you guys next time. This was Filter Free. Talk to y'all later.
Hey.
Peace.